fourth down, the final
What's
play.
up, Buckeye baggers?
They can stick it in the end zone. Dorsey under pressure, throws it. Incomplete. The Buckeyes win. Ezekiel Elliott, and he's got an opening. Elliott off to the races. Can they catch him?
Feature the two backs as receivers, and now a downfield shot on first down for the end zone. Touchdown, Ohio State strikes first. Making the judgments again, and there is Smith running free, breaks a tackle. Ohio State strikes quickly from 45 yards. Pressure comes. Troy, knock it out, and picks it up. Jack Troy coming down the sidelines. Ohio State scoop and score and dagger from 82 yards.
Here they come.
Heavy pressure. Howard delivers downfield. It's Smith. He's got it. Jeremiah Smith. 2025 college football national champion Coach Ryan Day and the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Welcome in, Buckeye backers. We are bringing it to you live from Seattle, Washington, to the cornfields of Enid, Ohio. We are the pulse of Buckeye fans across the nation, with Seattle Matt and Buckeye Steve. Welcome in, Buckeye backers. We got another jam-packed show for you. This time, we got none other than Nittany Sports Now, Kyle Golik on the show. We got Brian Buckeye Stats, who's been hitting up all kinds of stats and crunching the numbers all over the place. You're going to know him real soon. Brian, Kyle, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
This is a game where there's so many storylines, and I don't know which way to take it because there's emotions running deep everywhere. So let's just start with one of the big ones, Jim Knowles. Jim Knowles leaves the national title championship trophy at the altar during the celebration last winter, goes over across Big Ten country to a foe in Penn State, and here we are now, 0-4 in the Big Ten, coming back to the shoe, head coachless. What are your feelings, Kyle? You have to be going through the gamut of emotions right now as a season credentialed writer for Nittany Sports Now, going to the stadium. Is it different? What's the feeling like? How did you feel when Franklin got fired and the emotional roller coaster of Jim Knowles coming in started off everything? It was supposed to be a national championship season. What's it all feel like now, like adding that all to the plate?
All right, so let's start from the beginning. So, the Orange Bowl absolutely destroyed me. It would destroy, I think it's one of the more painful losses in Penn State history. That interception by Aller there to Christian Gray at Notre Dame was very painful. So after that, we had been hearing things about Jim Knowles, like was some sort of breakup at Ohio State. So it kind of piqued our interest. We knew Penn State was getting involved, and, it's hard not to be excited. You have a national championship defensive coordinator. You have a guy whose reputation has preceded him as, really over the last 4 or 5 years, people regard as the best defensive coordinator. Penn State got him. Like, I cannot tell you a time in my Penn State, whether covering it, being a fan, etc., when Penn State got the splash higher and moved the market. I mean, to pay Jim Knowles $3+ million, you got to feel good. But, you start hearing things. And so let's take a look at a lot of things. I think, Steve, you had pointed out to me, Mike Lilly, who's a near and dear friend of mine, a couple other Ohio State writers said, look, you're going to hear about how difficult it is for Jim Knowles' defense to get the system in place. It's going to take 2 or 3 years, even if that. And
it's just complicated.
It is. It really is. And so I'm getting to, Penn State Media Day, and I'm sitting there going, I kept hearing from you guys on that, and I was checking out also Bill Rabinowitz's book, The Brotherhood. I don't know if you guys have checked that out yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what really started to get my sus meter going was when you hear a guy like Denzel Burke, who was in the system for 3 years, saying, like, I don't understand this. And this is a guy that's an outstanding athlete. I think you guys would agree. I'm not making this up, right?
Nope.
Okay. So
I mean,
I'm
he's in the NFL. So
there you go. And then you got a guy, saying that, and in Rabinowitz puts in there, I believe, he has about Knowles' scheme has about 25 to 30 looks. So you have this complex of a defense, and apparently it was Larry Johnson Sr. and Ryan Day that trimmed that down to 15, and that's where that schism began. So I'm reading this, and I'm sitting there going, I'm going up to Penn State Media Day, and I got Jim Knowles in my crosshairs. You guys can, the video's on YouTube, so definitely go to Nickle Sports now. You can see me literally ask this question. But let me preface the question. Penn's all offseason, from the blue-white game, Big Ten media days, anytime James was available for media attention, the biggest thing he said is, we need linebackers. Our linebackers aren't where we need it to be. Okay?
Yeah.
And if you understand Knowles' scheme where you have 2 linebackers and it's a safety-first approach, okay? So your linebackers got to do many things. They got to have amazing range, correct? They got to be able to shed blockers, and they got to be able to read and react quickly. So when Penn State lost Tony Rojas, I knew last year when Rojas had some injuries and Penn State had some injuries at key positions, because if you remember last year we lost KJ Winston at safety. I go up to Knowles and go, hey, has there been thought of implementing like a 4-3 defense, kind of what Penn State was running under Pry, just because, you got to find ways to develop, because if you're really young at linebacker and and you got really Penn State only really had 2 capable linebackers for Knowles' system, Rojas and Amari Campbell, the North Carolina transfer. Losing Rojas was detrimental. I mean, you seen how Nico Iamaleava completely destroyed us in the Rose Bowl. And hell, look, Mark Gronowski ran for 130 yards for Iowa on it. So I ask him, and he looks at me like Knowles looks at me like he's annoyed that I've asked this question and questioned his defense, saying, like, oh, you will see some 3 linebacker sets. Can I tell you guys what we have not seen this year at Penn State? We have not seen a 4-3 defense. He had the audacity at points in the Iowa game to do a 3-3-5 Oklahoma State stack in the Big Ten. Are you effing kidding me?
That's the difference. I mean, this is an Oklahoma State, right? This is the Big Ten.
This is the Big Ten. This is big offensive linemen. If you put 3 down linemen and they get mauled there, where are those linemen going next? Oh, they're going to the linebackers.
Well, that's one thing we learned about Jim Knowles last year. I was a big proponent of Jim. I loved Jim last year. I was a big fan of his. Always posting about him. And but one thing we learned about him is that man is stubborn as all get out.
Oh my God!
Would not be surprised if he ran that defense just to spite you.
Bradley's coming in with the heat in the locker room. He's like gonna leave the game saying, "Why the hell did I leave the Buckeyes, man? Why the hell
he didn't say the hell.
Yeah,
he said the F.
Why the fuck? Why we could say that. We could say that on here on this channel. No one cares.
By the way, good to see you again, Cal. It's been too long, sir.
It has been, Alex. Hopefully all is well with you, brother.
Well, Could be
And
better.
this is what I like.
We're here.
I said a long time ago, they used to say it's the Jimmies and Joes. Well, at Ohio State, you got to say it's the Calebs and the Jeremiahs. And there was some reference to that in Ryan Day's interviews this week. He said, a lot of this is on what we've had in the past, even our assistant defensive coaches. He says those guys aren't getting enough credit, but it's also the players. I mean, if you have Caleb's and Jeremiah's, if you have a safety first defense, like Bradley likes to say, dude, you got it made. I mean, if you have the guys that can make the plays, if you have rangy dudes like Arvell Reese, if you guys had Arvell Reese over there, Jim Knowles would look great.
We had him last year with Abdul Carter. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
But here's also the problem with that. So Penn State got denied Dennis Sutton, who is our top edge rusher, who PFF had in the top 10 this year, who averaged before this year a pressure rate of 53% and was the number 2 edge rusher in Power 4 defensive ends in pressures. Do you know this year it's near 43% pressure rate in Knowles' scheme?
That was one of the things that everyone knocked Knowles out. And I think, this goes into what Doug Shepard's saying. If you look at the first Oregon game with Jim Knowles running the ship, there were 0 pressures, absolutely 0 pressures.
Oh my God.
Over to the Rose Bowl, and it was sack after, I don't even remember how many sacks. There was so much pressure on Dylan Gabriel that.
What did I say before the season about Matt Patricia?
Yeah,
I said he was going to unlock this defense, specifically the defensive line.
Yeah.
What's happened?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All you got to do is look at the amount of sacks and tackles for a loss specifically. I mean, there hasn't necessarily been a ton of sacks, but the tackles for a loss is a big standout for Ohio State's defense.
I'm going to steal the Buckeye stat guys thunder here for 1 second. I don't think this is one of his stats, but in our preview show, I was trying to explain to why Penn State's going to be in a lot of pain from this historic defense, because this is the first defense since the 93 Seminoles to average this few points a game. Almost every one of your 11 starters on defense has a near 10% stop rate per PFF, which is considered elite.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that doesn't happen. Like, the last defense to do something like that, and I was looking, and their thing was like the 2011 Alabama Crimson Tide. Like, this is a defense that is primed to administer B2A on the Penn State offense.
Yeah,
let's just call it. And I'll kick it over to Brian.
No doubt. Like this defense is bridging generations. It literally is bridging generations. It's bridging that generation. Like you talk about 1993, it's bridging that gap between the 2000s, the 90s, and it's going to start bridging that gap into the 1970s. If there is a shutout this weekend, I think we're going to start looking at comparing this to the lowest scoring defenses since the 1970s. And when you think about it, that's wild. When you think about the type of smack mouth defense and hitting that was allowed back then, and the type of offenses that were played back then, that's the type of defense we're talking about right now. That's ridiculous. So
if you get the shutout and average under 42 points for 8 games, you have to go back to 1978.
Yeah, I gotta pull it back out.
Under 42 points in 8 games, I think is the last time that happened was 1978.
Here's the thing, though. I don't think we're gonna shut out Penn State. Let's be real about this.
Shut your mouth.
They're probably going to get they're going to get at least 3 to 7 on us. Okay. But if we did, that'd be great. I mean, but I'm not going to hold my breath on that. Penn State still has some good players, and they can make something happen on us. Right. But going back to Jim Knowles, this is something we warned Penn State fans about. We told a lot of these Penn State fans, hey, defense wasn't your problem. Like, congrats, you got our defensive coordinator. It'll take him like 3 years. And I saw some article that said Jim Knowles has discovered a way to implement his defense quicker than 3 years. And I said, I'll believe that when I see it. But that was never their problem. It was this offense.
Yeah.
And they still got public enemy number one as their OC, who I don't know how he kept his job over James Franklin. I would have fired him first, got him a new offensive coordinator, and see what happens after that. Maybe fire Franklin after
Penn
the season.
State's been through how many coordinators under Franklin on the offensive side? It's obscene. It's obscene.
At one time, it worked for the most part. 2016.
True. And this is what's here's the other thing. The other red flag, and this is to finish off the point on the complexity. So the interim head coach is Terry Smith, and he's known in Penn State circles as the truth teller. He doesn't. You're not getting BS from him. He may let something loose and then kind of save himself at the end, but you're going to get something. And we asked him point blank, talk to us about Knowles' defense. You want to know what the first 2 words he said was? It's complicated. And when you're in a situation where, and I explain this to folks, even if you're taking a fraction of a second longer to do something, that's all it takes to make your defense ineffective. Penn State was very much a react defense throughout what Manny Diaz brought, even in the Brent Pry stuff, even what Tom Allen did last year, even though he's much maligned for some odd reason in Happy Valley. It was very much an attack style. It was less thinking and go for it. Jim Knowles might be a football genius, and I've listened to him, and I have the utmost respect for his football IQ. But sometimes you can outsmart yourself, and I think his stubbornness and outsmarting himself is not helping Penn State this year.
Well, and we knew when we heard about the rumblings that Larry Johnson and him were butting heads behind the scenes that there was going to be issues. And then now with Matt Patricia, we hear that they have the best relationship, him and Larry Johnson. They they bounce off each other all the time. They respect each other. It's like how coaching should be. You should be like, those are your guys. Those are the guys you go to war with. I mean, and it's so healthy now.
Yep.
And you even just see it. You saw the video. Someone just posted a video of Jim Knowles in the practice today. And I know it's only a 60-second clip, and maybe that's not fair, but I mean, we saw it with him at our practices. He's not hanging around the players. He's not hanging out after the practice talking to the players. He's not hugging the players. He's not engaged with the players. I mean, Matt Patricia, in every picture, every video I'm seeing with him, he is smiling with them. The coaches are smiling back. He's hugging them. You can tell they genuinely love him. And I can tell you this from the get, like, I have been involved with the military and like leadership and stuff like that. And I can tell you right now, like, you can tell when someone has a group of people and they want to follow them, and you can tell when they don't. And there is no doubt that Matt Patricia has that room and Jim Knowles doesn't. And you can tell Jim Knowles doesn't have that Penn State room as well. He just doesn't have it. And that's all. I like Jim Knowles. I like what he did for Ohio State, and I don't want to talk trash on him. Thank you for the chip and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But that's all I'll say about that. Like, you can spot leadership from a mile away. Matt Patricia, he's got it in spades. And
Jim Knowles was just that mad scientist, and that's how they described him last year. And that's what he was. He would lock himself in a room, watch film nonstop, didn't want anyone bother him, didn't want other coaches in there, didn't want to bounce ideas off of anything. He wanted to focus on what he could do and mastermind how he could attack an offense, which he did well, I think. But it took him time to get other people to buy into his system and to feed off of it. They did good with Ohio State's players. Whether that will portray itself down the line at Penn State, who knows now with everything that's going on.
Yeah,
he's got a guaranteed contract, but
here's the Jim.
Go ahead.
Here's the Jim Knowles effect. Penn State, in between the Diaz and Tom Allen reign, averaged nearly 4 sacks a game, 4 hits, 15 tackles for loss a game. Not 15 tackles for loss, 7 tackles for loss, and 15 hurries a game. In the Jim Knowles experience, we're under a sack a game, just over a quarterback hit a game, 11 hurries a game, and 4 tackles for loss. Significant declines in pressure. And in a sport where you can't apply pressure to a very critical position, it's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, I got 2 words for you, and it's just analysis paralysis. That's all it is.
It is. It really is.
Here's the thing about Jim Knowles, though, right? Yeah. When he came to Ohio State in 2022, we had just been off the heels of Kerry Coombs and that failed experiment at DC. So it was going to look better no matter what with Jim Knowles, right? But then you saw the team up north game that year, which now we know they cheated, but that's neither here nor there. But they put up a lot of yards on this defense. And then you see like the Oregon game last year, put a lot of yards on this defense. This is all to say that Penn State could have in that third year, they could have an elite defense if they keep them. These players by then, the guys that'll be there in year 3, they'll understand it a lot better than they did this year. But notice how Ohio State still went 11-1 in 2022 in the regular season with that defense. They still went 11-1 or 10-2 last year with that defense, right? The losing the Oregon game, everybody says that was the whole turning point, right? That was just that just lit the match. This UCLA game, how they lost that and how Jim Knowles allowed a quarterback that he's already prepped for, that he prepped for really well, along with Day and whoever else's help because of that Oregon game in the regular season where we heard that Day stepped in and said, this has to change. So, but kudos to Knowles. His unit was ready for Nico in that playoff game. So this is quarterback he already saw. How he allowed that to happen from a UCLA team that was literally limping into that game with a new head coach and OC. Yeah. That was the real killer right there.
Well, the big issue there, Alex, was Tony Rojas had a season-ending injury prior to that week. And going back to what I was saying is Penn State did not have the linebacking talent to execute that the defense that Knowles does. You know what you got to have it with those linebackers. They have to be athletic. They got to be rangy. They got to be able to tackle. They got to be able to shed blockers. They got to be able to read and react. When you're down to Amari Campbell, and look, I love Dom DeLuca, and his story is the all-time Penn State hard luck story of being given a chance, walked on, 3-time captain, etc. But him in that situation where he has to be rangy, the problem with Dom is at the critical moments is when he made the mistake. And that's what's hard to beat up Dom on is like the Iowa game on the Gronowski 80-yard run. He got chipped by an offensive lineman that he typically beat all game. It was the only time all game. He led Penn State, I believe, in tackles. He was either first or second that night. But that one play, and he always has that inopportune time at the worst time. And it's like, how do you fix that as a coach? Your job as a coach, whenever you see a deficiency, is you try to mask it. And you try to do things so that way you can kind of coach it up. But when you have what Penn State has had this year, this goes back to the Oregon game, the UCLA game, the Northwestern game, even the Iowa game. It's these errors at times where it's like if you watch the tape on DeLuca for the Iowa game or even UCLA, he was horrible. I'll be the first one to tell you. But by Iowa on that Gronowski run, that was his only bad play, and it was so unfortunate.
So when's going to be the inopportune time to have an error against Ohio State?
Probably the first drive.
I was hoping you'd say that.
And see, here's the thing too.
Let's get this analysis. Let's turn it a little bit into Ohio State versus Penn State. Let's see what's going to happen. Because what the players are saying, what Ryan Day is saying, is this a matchup game? They have the athletes. Things haven't turned out the right way. And that kind of fits a little bit with what you're saying, the inopportune errors that cause the game to shift in someone's favor or another. Do you believe that this team at Penn State, Kyle, has the athletes to hang with Ohio State in this game? And what do you think that they will need to do in order to win this game in the shoe?
All right, so I'm going to put my optimistic hat on, which I lost a long.
Is that hard for you? Is that hard for you to pull back out?
Kyle is the most objective Penn State fan I've ever met in my life.
Yeah.
This is very hard for him to do.
Objective hat on. Let's see it.
The objective hat, the optimistic hat, we'll call it. Because I'm always objective. It's optimistic is probably the hat that I lose most often.
That might be the most optimistic hat you could wear.
I mean, I got laying around here in 1986 Penn State National Championship hat.
Love it. I wish you would wear it.
You should.
I might try to find it here in the quickness here. If I see it, I'll grab it. But getting back to the optimism, so Penn State apparently installed a new offense this week during the bye.
What?
All right.
So
let's before I get optimistic about this, we've seen how well Penn State has done installing schemes this year. Not so well at all. So my hope isn't there. But one of the things that I was hoping and why the offense has been horrible for Penn State, especially in the passing attack, which I know Brian's going to get a little bit more into later on, is what I was anticipating when Penn State got Kyron Hudson, Devontae Ross, and Trevor Pena, because you got to consider the following. Trevor Pena led the ACC in receptions, and Devontae Ross led the Sun Belt in touchdown receptions. Is take a page out of the Ohio State playbook. Find that short passing game of high percentage throws to get started. They're like a run. You get going, and if your receiver can make a play, there's a bunch of yak yards behind it. Here's what's pathetic with this. Are you ready for this stat here from Penn State? In 16 games last year, Penn State mustered 171 total yak yards after the catch. They're barely going to be able to get over that number in 12 games this year. They're on pace for 174. And they brought in all those receivers for who, for what. So apparently what Terry Smith has been saying, a lot of the players, I've heard King Max say this, I've heard a bunch of players say this, is we have two underclassmen, Tyseer Denmark, I believe is a redshirt freshman, and a true freshman named Kobe Howard, who have been electric, but for some reason we haven't seen them. And Kobe Howard this week on X put up a pretty good post on his X saying, like, hey, he's been stuck in traffic since September, since the opening week, and he's now ready to take off. So so from the optimistic perspective, can we get a high percentage passing game going with these guys and see if they can be creative?
Sage, I got to get Sage from the locker room in here.
Can Nick Singleton have figure out what's wrong with him? Because he entered the season on a 10-touchdown game scoring, a 10-game touchdown scoring streak, and now he's just lost. It would be nice to have him be able to compliment Katron Allen, because if these things don't happen, okay, the only reason Penn State offensively was in the Iowa game, because that's the only game we can really base anything on, because that's when Grunkmeyer started and whatnot. In this modern renaissance, in the post-James Franklin era, you take away Katron Allen's efforts, Penn State averaged 2.7 yards per play against Iowa. And Iowa,
their defense is good.
Phil Parker, their defense is really
good.
Phil Parker's probably number 2 to Patricia in your totem pole in Big Ten DCs, right? Anyone want to disagree?
I mean, just because of the historic like level we're at right now, I'd say yeah. But in any other sense, like Phil Parker's been like the best DC in the conference for
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Iowa's getting slept on, and we just had this conversation the other day, not to sidebar, but people might not sleep on them against Oregon, but we'll get on that next week.
But 2.7 yards per play against Iowa. To give you a reference point, the team dead last in the FBS on yards per play is UMass, and they average 3.7 yards per play. So what is that going to tell you? If Penn State can only use Katron Allen against Ohio State, we are screwed.
Absolutely.
And not the screwed that I like or anyone here likes. It's bad screwed. So you look at the end of the day, Julian Sains is having an amazing year.
Is it this kind of screwed what Doug said?
Oh, yeah.
By the way, you scored more on Iowa's defense than Indiana did.
Give us something. Well, remember,
4 points.
Yeah, we the blocked field goal touchdown helped, and a couple other things helped. But there's one thing I'm gonna see if Brian Buckeye stats saw this week. So this blew my effing mind. All right, Julian Sain, his NFL quarterback rating on intermediate and deep throws, so anything 10 yards or longer between the numbers. Do you know what his NFL quarterback rating was in that zone, in those two zones?
That's one stat I did not look at. I only looked at the.
Are we talking percentages?
No, NFL quarterback rating. Are you ready for it, guys?
100 something.
Go for it.
158.3.
Yeah.
What's significant about that number?
That's
as
perfect.
high as it goes.
There you go. He has like 55 or 60 pass attempts in those two zones this year.
Yeah,
so
that's one thing I don't think a lot of people understand is that's one thing NFL teams look for is. Yeah.
Do you know last year Drew Aller was 121.8 in those same zones, and that's why NFL teams were saying, "Hey, you might be a day one pick because you're playing at that level." I'll throw one other thing at you, Brian. And this, I don't know if you caught this. Carnell Tate, he's an absolute monster, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, he's right now number 2.
What is his receiving grade on throws from 10 yards on intermediate and deep throws? This is a first.
You did your homework on me. You came over here to stump the chump, didn't you?
Kyle comes prepared, man. That's why I love it.
You did your homework. What is it?
Okay. On intermediate throws this season, he has a receiving grade of 98.6. And then on deep throws, 99.9.
Yeah, he's
I've never seen 99.9 grade on PFF.
Yeah, he's a beast on the deep ball.
But who have they played, Kyle? Who have they played? They played.
It doesn't matter who they played.
They're only one of 5 teams that have played an entire schedule of teams over 500, but that doesn't matter.
All right.
I'm going to say this. Let me explain this. The Jim Knowles effect. The Jim Knowles effect.
Where was the positivity part? Where was your optimistic?
There is none.
Did you get rid of that?
There's none, Brutus. There's none. AJ Harris, who was graded the most draft-ready cornerback for the 2026 NFL draft. His grade is 61.3 this year, and he's been getting burned by Northwestern receivers. What do you think is going to happen when Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate go, "Ooh, ready, brother, 5 minutes for playtime"?
Hey, you know what? What's deceiving about this is they have the 5th ranked passing defense.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Because I put out a post this morning, and I think that should be Ohio State's athletic department's main theme today or going into this week is that if Julian Saint has a great day, it should be to the media that he burned the number 5 ranked pass defense. For all of Penn State's woes, Kyle, we're going to give you your flowers. We're going to give Knowles his flowers. We're going to give him his flowers. We're just going to go and throw it to him. Penn State, you do have the number 5 pass defense in the country. So
and I'm going to be the urinating tree right now.
No.
I'm going to. Because are you ready for this? In 4 Big Ten games this year, Penn State is allowing opposing quarterbacks to complete 68.3% of the passes. That included the great Mark Gronowski and Preston Stone and Nico Yamalava and Dante Moore.
And they're about to play the best 2 quarterbacks on their schedule in back-to-back weeks.
Oh my God, are you kidding me?
Steve, I don't know if you have. You said I don't know if you said you had the chart that I had up, or if it was too small to pull up. The one with the grid with all the stats of all the teams. You said that might be. Yeah. So anyway, so Kyle, I will help urinate on it. I know I did put up that tweet this morning. All of Buckeye Nation, you can exhale collectively. Let's all exhale. Yes, Penn State does have the number 5 ranked pass defense in the nation, but let's digest that a little bit.
What are the team's passing offenses that they've played?
All right. So the best passed offense.
No, go with the average. Go with the average.
Okay, all right. We'll start with the average of all the teams. Of all the teams that Penn State has played thus far this year, the average rank of the pass offense they have played so far this year, drum roll please, is 105.5. If you could put them all together, the pass rank is
Oregon.
105.5.
Oregon's the best. Oregon is number 1. If you rank them all in order, Oregon is number 1, and you will never guess who's number 2.
No. What rank Oregon is right now?
53.
Oregon's pass offense right now
53
is ranked 53 in the nation.
Shut up.
And the only reason I know that is I read an article about it last night.
I kid you not.
Guess who's number 2?
Number two jumps way off the cliff. The second ranked pass offense that Penn State, and Kyle is over there rolling because he already knows the answer. We discussed it.
We said it. You guys said
it. We already discussed it pre-show. The number 2 pass offense that Penn State has faced is FIU, coming in at number 95.
Wow. I think UCLA was a number 111.
Yeah, UCLA 111. Then number 117 is Northwestern. Then we have Nevada at 125.
I never even looked to see what Villanova is. I don't care.
They're not in there.
FCS. Yeah,
I don't even care. It doesn't matter.
I don't even rank Villanova because they're FCS.
They'd be 130 something by default.
Iowa is 132. So their average rank, if you could put them all together, is 105.5, and that gets Penn State their number 5 ranking. And coming into tomorrow, or not tomorrow, I keep thinking today's Friday, but coming into Saturday, our past offense is, what are we ranked? Where are we scoring? Is ranked number 24. Obviously, we know that's based off of yardage. We know that because of our low volume, that's kind of skewed a little bit. PFF pass offense, our PFF grade is number 1. PFF grades Ohio State as the number 1 graded pass offense in the country right now.
Brian, is it true what I saw that we're on pace right now based off of how less snaps we're taking per game, that we're on pace to play 1 less game by the end of the regular season?
So I don't know if you want to pull that up. If you want to pull that up real quick,
because I thought that was interesting. I was like, Really? We're on
I don't know
pace
if I took a
because of how many
snapshot of
how many offensive plays we're playing. We're on pace to have played technically one less game worth of plays wise. I was like, okay, if there's a method to the madness, awesome.
Well,
it
Brian's
is true.
Well,
It is true.
well, Brian
And Brian did the analysis to it earlier. If you still have that, he also pointed out that Oregon's on pace for 2 extra games.
Well, Brian's pulling it up. I will give laurels to someone you need to watch on the Penn State defense, though.
There we go.
So he's not Caleb Downs. I don't think anyone in the nation's Caleb Downs. But if you want to see what Caleb Downs looks like, look out for Penn State safety Zakee Wheatley. The guy has been playing at a very high level all season long. He is a guy that
Zakee Wheatley.
Zakee Wheatley,
yeah. Wheatley, the Temu version of Caleb Downs.
He's if you wanted to see, okay, if Caleb Downs is the what's the name of the hot dogs that Chestnut Downs every year up at Coney Island?
No
Sugardale?
Not
Sugardale?
Sugardale. No.
Nathan's.
Yeah.
Nathan's,
If Caleb Downs is the Nathan's hot dogs of safeties, I would say, Zakee Wheatley is like the Hebrew National, like the step down, like,
I think Hebrew Nationals are good, man. I love Hebrew National.
Same here. And I like Nathan's.
So he's saying he's pretty good.
Yeah.
He's just not good. He's not the creme de la creme of hot dogs.
Correct.
But he's pretty,
so keep
pretty
an
good.
eye on him.
I don't know if Nathan's hot dogs are better than.
Here's the other aspect to keep an eye on is if Penn State's going to be starting to unload a lot of freshmen. LeVar Arrington, this kid just saw his first action against Iowa. Chaz Coleman's supposed to be back, and he's Penn State's best edge rusher this season by PFF. When you get on the offensive side of the ball, I mentioned Kobe Howard and Tyseer Denmark. I expect to see more things with Andrew Rappleyea. He missed last season because of a season-ending injury, but he seems to have great chemistry with Grunkmeyer. He's nicknamed Baby Grunk, and he is number 87. Luke Reynolds is a 5-star former tight end. I don't think he's ready to ascend this year. I think he needs like that year of experience before he's ready to take that next step. But it's a guy to also watch for. And Vega Ione will be back this week. If you remember him, he was the viral pancake blocker against UCLA a season ago.
Oh, yeah.
I love how Penn State has 2 quarterbacks that basically grew up Ohio State fans. And now this one they have now, he's like, I can't wait to play in the shoe. My mom played there basketball. Grew up like 20 minutes away.
Right. I just have to say it. I get this feeling that Penn State just really wants to be Ohio State. Like you guys can just get on one knee, propose, and
that's why they want to hire Brian Hartline.
Right? No, you stole Jim Knowles. You want Brian Hartline. I mean, you guys are taking our quarterbacks that are from Ohio. You might as well just propose and get it over with.
Hey, AZ Buckeyes got this. Ohio State is on pace to play 1 full game less than Texas A&M.
2 full games less.
Okay. 2 full games less than Georgia.
Okay.
And 1 full game less than Ole Miss. Oh, I guess I had that wrong. All right, 1 full game less than Texas A&M, sorry. 2 full games less than Georgia, 1 full game less than Ole Miss, and 1 full game less than Alabama.
Kyle, we got to talk about this real quick.
Sure.
You're the most objective Penn State fan I know.
All right.
You don't want Brian Hartline as your head coach, right?
He's number 5 on my hot board there.
Who's number 1?
Joe Brady.
Okay. He's at least number 5. See, this is why Kyle's objective. All the rest of his fan base is saying, we want Brian Hartline. We want Brian Hartline. I get the allure. But
so my top 5 at the moment.
No experience.
My top 5 at the moment is Hartline is at 5. Who the hell did I put at 4? I might have to look at that, but I know Bob Chesney at JMU is 3. Pat Fitzgerald is 2, and Joe Brady's at 1. I'm going to pull up my hot board real quick.
You don't
Pat
have Drinkwitz
Fitzgerald
on
would
there
be
anymore?
a great pick.
Drinkwitz isn't on there anymore?
No.
Pat Fitzgerald would be such a great dark horse pick. See, like I don't believe in hiring Rule either. If I'm Penn State, what is he gonna do better than Franklin? I mean, he probably could maintain the same, right?
My number 4 was Will Stein of Oregon.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And I think that's a good pick because he's got years of experience. He also was offensive coordinator at UTSA before he was at Oregon.
I was literally just there for work like last week, Temple and Brutus. That's hilarious.
So my 2 on the outside are Ryan Silverfield from Memphis and Cliff Kingsbury from the Washington Commanders.
Ooh, the Memphis head. Ooh, I like that one. I think
so. That's my top 7 in completion.
Wait, you're telling me the hottest name on the board isn't on your list?
Who?
Brian Kelly?
I will say this: if Brian Kelly became Penn State head coach, I would find an outlet or be on the beat as long as I could until he got fired, because I would every press conference try to ask him something for him to lose his crap over me. I'm just being honest.
You know who should hire him? Sparty. Sparty should.
He's got experience up there.
He does.
He would get them to a point where they're respectable again.
Mm-hmm.
They'll never be like where they were with Antonio with him. But if they would be so happy if they could just start beating the Wolverines a little more again and being like a 9 win year. They'd be
that's where his temperament belongs. I mean, that's where he's from, though, right? He's from that kind of area.
I don't know if he's from there, but I know his first job was
at CMU.
Yeah, Central Michigan.
So I'll give you my honest Brian Hartline stuff. To me, it's only a matter of time before Brian Hartline assumes a head coaching role. Yeah. It's really right from what I gather from Ohio State insiders is he's not overtly seeking out positions. He's having people come to him, and he's fielding the conversations. So I think he realizes the leverage game of he's coveted. He knows he's wants to be at Ohio State, but it has to make sense on all factors. If Penn State were to get Brian Hartline, would I be happy? I would be happy. He's number 5 on my board. My thing is he going to, when will he be at Penn State? And I would assume after the playoff. But how will he handle the double duty between Ohio State playoff push? Because in my mind, I would want him to give your team the most honest effort, the same way Dan Lanning did for Georgia in their national championship pursuit before going to Oregon. Sure. I would be asking questions on what his organizational strategy was and how he would handle a lot of the recruiting shortcomings Penn State had, especially at wide receiver and in Philadelphia. If he could answer those questions well, I'm excited. If he's not, then we're going to have the same problems we've had forever.
If you got Brian Hartline, wide receiver would be the least of your worries.
I would hope so, number one. But more importantly, it's that Philadelphia question. Think about it. You guys were able to get guys like Kyle McCord. I know you don't like him, but you still got him from Penn State. Marvin Harrison Jr. you got from us. And, we just watched Joey O'Brien go to Notre Dame, who's a 5-star kid this cycle. So, again, Philadelphia is a priority because what James got right was definitely Western Pennsylvania. But the eastern part of the state, SEC schools came in, Ohio State came in. You got to figure that out.
So what you're telling me is you're cool on Brian Hartline unless it comes down to it. So I like that. He can stay at Ohio State for hopefully what'll be a quest for a 3-peat next year. And then he can leave after Jeremiah leaves, and we'll replace him with maybe Chris Carter or something.
I think this might be a good way to segue into the receiving grades that we had pulled up for and doggone the Penn State receivers.
Yeah, the talented transfers they got coming.
Yeah, do you have those? Want to pull those up?
Those I'll step in and be a hero here. Those receivers would be a lot better had the OC put this offense in a better position.
Correct. And I'll let you guys explain the grades, and I'll even elaborate on that in a bit. But I want to hear what your guys' thoughts.
If you're able to pull those up, I'll start. I posted it this morning as I was putting the model together, and we can discuss that later. I started. Well, not that. Do you have the ones with all the receiving grades of all the receivers for the Penn State, Ohio State game? It's got the tight ends, the wide receivers, the running backs, and all that. I've got like highlighted.
I do not have that one. So
you do not have that one.
You're okay. Well, from your computer. Okay,
I'll just speak to it then. If you guys are out there listening, you can go to my X profile and pull it up. I pulled it up this morning. But as I was putting together the model for to predict the score for the Ohio State Penn State game, I pulled up all the receivers for the game to include all the tight ends, wide receivers, and running backs and everything. And I sorted them in PFF by overall grade. And number one, and I did it by 10% of minimum snaps. And I was delightfully, of course, I thought I was going to see Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith up top, but delightfully I saw Jelani Thurman was number one. Obviously, he only has 6 targets, but that was kind of cool to see. So Jelani's number one, Carnell Tate's number 2, Jeremiah's number 3, and fourth on the list is the first time you see someone for Penn State, and it's their running back. Katron Allen, which you're like, okay, hopefully you want to see a wide receiver there, but that's cool. And then you get to see Bo Jackson's 5th on the list, and then you see their first wide receiver is Devontae Ross, and then Max Clare's next, CJ Donaldson, and then 9th on the list is Trevor Pena, and then then you get down and you see the rest of the Penn State guys, and then some of our guys. But the big knock last year, was Penn State's wide receivers, and then they bring in all 3 brand new wide receivers, for the first, second, and third wide receivers. And you're like, wow. I mean, I don't know. You'd have to go back, a lot of different schools to see where they brought in all brand new wide receivers to be wide receiver 1, 2, and 3. That's kind of crazy. And you heard all this talk all this off season, and I'll let you talk about all the woes for Penn State wide receiver crew. But when I pulled this up, it just was mind blowing to hear all the talk that Penn State was giving us this summer and during the preseason about how this pass game was going to blow us away. And then just to see these numbers, and obviously, I want to give you a little slack and grace, obviously, with an injury to your quarterback, but yeah, take the floor, man. You want to talk about that? You want to sit on a couch?
Kyle is totally different from the rest of the Penn State fan base. I assure you, he said nothing of the sort. He knew if the offense was set up better, those wide receivers could.
And that's where I was going. So as I alluded to, I think earlier, I don't know if this was on the pre-show or here, but my anticipation is you bring in the ACC leading wide receiver in Trevor Pena. You bring in the Sun Belt leading touchdown getter in Devontae Ross. You bring in the nation's best, fewest drops. He had the lowest drop percentage in Kyron Hudson. My thinking was, okay, you're going to tailor an offense where you have a high percentage passing game, where you get the ball to them in space and you allow them to make plays, because this is what these guys did. So when Trevor Pena was getting balls from Kyle McCord last year at Syracuse and helping Kyle McCord lead the nation in passing yards, here's what's crazy. Syracuse targeted him last season in the short yardage passing game 55 times all season last year. Do you know how many times he's been targeted in a short area passing game this year? 12. Okay. Just in yak yards alone, he has just over 100 yak yards. He's leading Penn State right now. Okay. He had 481 yak yards for Syracuse last year. You look at Devontae Ross. You figure someone who has really good speed. I mean, he burned the hell out of Iowa. You figure, hey, you would try to find some sort of bubble screen. You try to get something involved with him in this space. So you try to find something in a short yardage situation. He has 10 short yardage targets this season compared to 53 last year, where he had almost 500 yak yards. So what you're running into is gross negligence with these new weapons. Like, what are they doing with them? They're not getting them involved. If you've watched the Penn State offense,
I knew this wasn't going to work from the get-go, and I don't want to tell you why, because I feel like I will be giving you a piece of advice, but I'm going to tell you why. I knew from the get-go this wasn't going to work. I was scratching my head. I'm like, what the fuck are you guys thinking? This isn't going to work. And you know why? Do you know why?
Because you kept Andrew Kotelnick.
No. You need at least one, if not two, big receivers. Just look. I pulled it up again just to remind myself. Tyron Hudson, 6'1", 213. Okay, maybe. Devontae Ross, 5'10", 170. Trevor Pena, 5'10", 187. You got to have at least one or two big guys that will overwhelm your corners and a safety. Nobody's scaring the shit out of anybody on that lineup.
No.
Nobody.
And
when I saw that, I just fucking laughed, and I said that's not going to work. And I bookmarked it, and it came back in the midseason. I was like, "Yep, clock that."
So let me summarize all this for you, and then we're going to get into our picks and the score. So what we're saying here is, even with a positive hat on from Kyle, Katrin Allen is the total offense. There's no one else doing anything. Quarterback's young, not looking real good himself yet.
This is only what, his second game?
Yeah.
Yep.
You're not using the threat that you have in the wide receiver game, so the passing game's almost non-existent.
With a better OC, it would have been at least somewhat better.
And your defense is behind because you have Jim Knowles' complicated scheme. How does that match up with Ohio State? How does your model, Brian, look for the score? Let's just go straight score. What does your model say for the score?
Okay, for those that are paying attention, I've been working on this model, and this model does not use AP polling at all. This is all performance-based, and I started putting in all the data from PFF in here, lots and lots and lots of data. This model actually predicted that Louisville will beat Miami. This model predicted that South Carolina would beat Alabama. It was close, 2 minutes away from being right in a fumble, and it was close. Yeah, choke. But so to get to your point, this model is saying that Ohio State is going to win 45 or 41-5. It's saying that we're going to have about 572 of total yards. Let's get to the box.
That's a lot of yards, actually.
Yeah, let's get to the box score. It says that Julian Sane is going to throw about 75% for 315 yards, two touchdowns, 158 QBR. It says that Bo Jackson's going to get off the snide and going to get 28 yards, 5.8 per carry, two touchdowns. 20. It says we're going to, as a team, we're going to run the ball 48 times for 257 yards.
Okay. And as a team, how many Bo's going to get?
Yeah, Bo. Yeah. It says Bo's going to run it 22 times for 128 yards.
He's not getting over 20 carries. It's not happening.
I tell you what.
tops.
I tell you what. I would not be surprised if we run the ball a lot because I feel like the coaching staff probably would like to see the running game be successful.
Yeah, don't forget Bo had a little bit of a sore ankle, so
that's fair.
They're not going to use him to more than 20.
That's fair. It's
not there anymore. He's healed from it, but
yeah,
they don't want that to become a nagging injury later.
I thought it was funny what Caleb said today about Burrow and running and saying the model punched us out before he said that. The model said that Sayan's going to run the ball 8 times for 42 yards
I'd like to see that.
For 5.3 average and a touchdown. Says that Carnell Tate's going to have a big game, 9 receptions, 160 yards for 2 touchdowns.
Steve, bring this up again. What's unrealistic about it is this fielding 42-yard field goal. We know that's not happening. This 35-yarder, maybe. Depends on the wind that day, I'm sure. I'm sure he'll find a way to shank that too. We need APB for a better kicker. I'm going to say it every freaking show. APB for a better kicker and a better punter. If you got a leg, it can kick accurately more than 70% of the time, which is what fielding seems to be able to do at best. Go ahead, tryouts. I'm sure if you tell Day you can kick, he'll try to find a way to sneak you on the team.
All right, so it's got Grunkmeyer in for 66 yards and 3 interceptions, no touchdowns.
Wow.
It's got Igbinosin in for 2 interceptions and Caleb Downs in for 1.
How many flags?
Let's see. It does have flags in there. It's got 4 penalties on Ohio State and 7 penalties on Penn State.
I don't know that 4
pass interference penalties on Iggy?
No. I meant total for the game. It didn't say for Iggy. I didn't catch the sarcasm there on Iggy.
So we got kind of a good baseline for how the game's going to go based on the model.
Right.
Kyle, what's your score prediction?
It's not much different than what Brian put up. And this is what I put up on Joe and the Fat Man, which is our show on Nittany Sports now. Check it out if you can, or it's always on the YouTube channel. 41-7. At the end of the day, here's the thing that I feel. Here are the key factors. Ohio State wants to complete this. There's something personal with Jim Knowles, and I think they want it. They really want to make sure this defense just hasn't been playing fast. And look, Ohio State is a perfectly tuned engine right now. You cannot even be a fraction of a second off to be able to compete. Athlete for athlete, Penn State has them. The problem is they don't have the mindset, and that's an issue. I love Katron Allen. I've been a proponent of his since he came there, and I've always said he was the better back than Singleton. But if that's your only offense, I'm sorry, that's too easy for Matt Patricia to figure out here.
Yeah,
there's no quarterback play. I love the fact that Grunkmeyer, he's a native from the Olentangy or whatever the hell you pronounce it.
Olentangy.
Oh, right. I know it's like this is a dream come true for him. I'm glad we're making dreams come true at Penn State for this kid.
just not for the fans.
Yeah.
Not for the fans.
He's not ready for this game, guys. Let's be honest here. Even with the start at Iowa in a couple weeks here, he's just not there. And when you're going against an historic defense, you typically need exceptional quarterback play to be the difference maker, and that's not there for Penn State. Defensively, I don't know where the pressure is going to come from, guys. And look, Julian Sain's already completing 80% of his passes. You give him any more time to read a defense and make a play, he's going to. It's just that's the facts of life. So 41-7, Ohio State. Penn State's only touchdown will come way late in the fourth quarter, because I feel much like the metric you had brought up, Brian, and that was told by the Arizona Buckeye guy or whatever his name is.
AZ Buckeye.
With about saving games with the fewer snaps and whatnot, it's going to be load management at this point. The game will be decided Penn State will get a touchdown against your second or third stringers. But by all accounts, it's going to be a shutout for the first string.
Yeah, you talk about pass rush. I think Penn State's ranked right now 35th PFF pass rush. The ranked number 68 and getting sacks, 41 and getting tackles for loss. And right now, Ohio State's, even with its issues, Ohio State's offensive line is number 2 in the nation and giving up tackles for loss, and number 3 in the nation and giving up sacks. And then when you talk about Julian Sain and what he does in the pocket, I mean, you never know what's going to happen in any given game, but I mean,
true.
Hopefully we expect to see, a clean pocket for Julian.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I know you're probably going to go with your model, so we'll let your model be your prediction. Unless you want to give an opposing view to your model, go ahead.
No, I am going to give an opposing view to my model. I'll go with the points for Ohio State 41. I'm going to say fuck the 5. I'm going with a shutout. I'm saying 41-0.
All right, Alex, what do you got, brother?
Well, I'm curious to see who makes the start at right guard, because that'll tell me a lot about how this game and the rest of the season.
According to Day, he hasn't made that decision yet. I think Padilla is going to get a lot more playing time.
I was to say, which means if he's smart and he's followed his recent trends, Padilla is probably going to be the starting. Because
Tegra is going to be the starter. It sounds like, which I'd like to see Padilla, but. They mentioned that Padilla's in the top 6. They are comparing things a little more, but you got to keep in mind what they're doing in practice too. But we'll see. We'll see. It took them a while to get to Bojack.
Put me behind the woodshed and shoot me now. Anyway, but regardless, in any other world, obviously I would be respectful here, and because these games are battles every year with Penn State. Wait,
stop there. What is your Doug Shepard? What is your over/under that Ohio State has more touchdowns than Penn State has first down?
Wow, that's shit.
I think Penn State will have more first downs than Ohio State.
That's a hot take.
That is hot.
Actually, fuck, I might take that.
That's hot.
I love that. Now, if that comes true, man,
that's painful.
In any other world, because these games are always battles, right? But because of the backup quarterback thing, which, yes, a backup quarterback has beaten Ohio State before, a defending champion Ohio State team before, that the only chance of that happening is if another hurricane-level wind monsoon comes through Columbus again. I think it's going to be close to that model, but I'm gonna say 38-7.
38-7 is good. I'm going to go with. For some reason, I had 35 in my head, and I think Ohio State holds them to 3. So I'm going to say 35-3.
So I'm just going to say this: the Doug Shepard 63-0, because I did cover back in the day the 63-14 Ohio State win.
That was a shocker one. That was crazy
in 2013. It's not out of the realm, but I still feel even if Ohio State gets 9 touchdowns, I think Penn State can muster 9 or 10 first downs. So that's where I'm going to say, like,
hold your horses.
Actually, make it a little better. Do third downs. I feel like third downs is a little better. Like,
I would take
third downs are harder to come by. Yeah,
I would take Ohio State's touchdowns over Penn State third down conversions.
Yeah, third down conversions. Yeah.
Oh yeah, all day I'll do that.
I have one important question for Kyle.
Yeah.
Sure.
So you're assuming we lose this game. I'm going to guess you're assuming you lose to Indiana as well, correct?
Correct.
So then you're sitting at 3-6.
Yep.
Does Penn State make a bowl game? Does Penn State make a bowl game?
No, I've said on my show, and I'll say it here. I don't think Penn State wins another game this year.
You don't think they beat Sparty?
No.
Or Rutgers?
No. I think Rutgers. Think about it. They went to UCLA as a top 10 team and lost at the Rose Bowl. This year, they've done things that teams haven't done in 40 years, and I think Penn State's overdue for that loss to Rutgers at the end of the season. Because think about it. If you're 3-8, or even if say Penn State does beat Sparty in the woodshed, okay, say they're 4-7 at that point. They're Alex. What motivation do they have to finish 5-7 at that point? Like, I am having a hard time, if they would, for this team to be bowl eligible, I'm going to have to see them, make this game competitive, which would mean, which I just don't see, but they would have to make this game competitive and then go into Indiana with some motivation where they can pull an upset there, which again I would welcome it, considering Indiana upset a number 10 ranked Penn State.
I would too
COVID
for a
year.
Big Ten title game purposes in case we do drop a game, because I've seen if we lose that last game of the year, we don't go to Indy.
My colleague Joe Smeltzer, love my guy to death. He gets so mad whenever I say Penn State's going 3-9. So
I would too. That sounds awful.
Coming into the year, you're supposed to win a natty.
I know, like, to be able to say that
Cody, we'll get you on in a minute, man.
What's really funny is, considering last year I covered a team that set the Penn State school record for wins. You could probably say it's one of the better teams in program history, to now arguably the most disappointing team. It's crazy. It's college football.
Yeah. Well, hey, we got to get some more to this show, right? We've talked about this game. We both, or all four of us, made kind of outrageous picks that Penn State's just going to get blown out. Doug says 63-0. Ohio State's going to get more touchdowns than Penn State gets first down. I like what I'm hearing, fellas, but this team isn't falling for that. They know Day's calling it a matchup game. The team says they know that this team has talent, that Penn State team has talent. So in the Woody, they are definitely feeding the team and feeding the narratives. This is about us, not about anyone else. We want to get better every game, no matter what. This team's good enough to do it if we don't have our I's dotted and our T's crossed. So we'll see once we get out there. I think it's going to be a blowout too. But we got to get Cody Croy on here. Cody Croy wants to talk about Buckeyes in the big league and future Buckeyes. You got one more thing to say?
I just want to give my dude Kyle a hug, because he deserves better than this. He's been such a loyal Penn State fan. He deserves so much better than this. And I don't know. I got to ask his thoughts after the show about Franklin, because I've been interested to hear him. But I just know that Penn State might end up regretting firing him.
Well, can you hang out for a second, Kyle? We'll get you back on after we get Cody on here, and we'll talk about Buckeyes in the big league.
Sure.
We'll bring you right back on. We'll talk a little Franklin after this.
I gotta hear his thoughts. I got to.
All right, Cody. I just think 5's too many for the screen. So, Cody, thanks for joining us. You got a prediction real quick, the score prediction, before we get into Buckeyes in the big league?
Give me 42-7.
42-7. Not bad. Pretty close to the model too.
Yeah.
So Buckeyes, how'd they do in the NFL? Buckeyes in the big league. You write an article about it every time. So every week you got it going, man. How'd they do?
Let's start with Justin Fields.
Let's do that.
He was benched. Then Tyrod Taylor gets hurt. And then he comes back in and leads them to their first win of the season. Stats, he put up 22 of 32, 244 yards and a touchdown.
Boom. There we go.
Breece Hall took one of his touchdowns. It's fine.
There probably weren't any receivers that caught touchdowns or anything like that. Or
JSN did so good he didn't record a stat.
Had standout games. There wasn't anything like that.
Well, let's go with Chris Olave. 8 catches, 63 yards. He now has 52 catches on the season. That puts him in 4th place. Emeka Ibuka's back. 3 catches, 35 yards. He has 562 yards. That's 7th in the NFL. Not just among rookies.
Wow. Well, Egbuka's going to start going back up again, because Mike Evans is going to pretty much out for the rest of the year now again. So
yeah, him and Godwin.
Yeah, God.
Yeah.
Thank God they got him.
McLaurin do something?
McLaurin caught a touchdown. He caught a touchdown.
Did you see that ridiculous catch on the sideline?
Yes, nasty.
That was nice. That was awesome.
Scary good, as Ohio State put it.
Boom.
Let's go with another quarterback, CJ Stroud, 30 of 39, 318 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick.
What was his QBR?
His QBR
30 of 39, 2 touchdowns
and a pick.
Wow. That's pretty damn well. I mean, minus the pick. Everything else was great. All right. Temple of Brutus loves them some Stroud.
And they tried telling me Stroud isn't an NFL QB.
His team is still struggling, but he seems to be back. So
yeah, that's
not against the Broncos. They weren't.
No.
So Temple of Brutus is a Houston native and living in the western burbs now. All right, nice. That's got to be fun rooting for Stroud down there. I mean, obviously they're not having the greatest of seasons this year, but nice to see Stroud doing good.
I'm so mad JSN had a bye week. It literally cost me in fantasy this week.
Did you start him?
No, I needed his usual points and I would have won.
Oh, yeah.
And I started Aaron Rodgers over Jordan Love, thinking my Packers were gonna get beaten. He has the best game of his career.
Of course, that's the way it works.
What do I?
Yeah. All right, Cody. Is that it for? Yeah, you got more. Keep it going.
Yeah, let's go on the other side of the ball.
All right.
Marshawn Lattimore, he got a pick.
Yep.
And then we got a couple of sacks. Chase Young, he got a sack, and so did Draymond Jones. And then that about wraps it up for NFL Buckeyes.
I almost forget about
Blue Jays just beat the Dodgers. I haven't been paying attention to that at all.
3-2 now.
Oh.
It's 3-2.
Canada's about to win a World Series before they win a Stanley Cup for like the last 30 some years. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Canada's going to win. It finally is like, transnational now.
Yeah.
The World Series actually does mean a couple countries.
Which of course the Blue Jays have like 4 to 5 former Cleveland baseball players. So,
I know.
Of course they do
Straw.
great elsewhere.
They got Straw, they got Clement, they got
Jimenez.
Ugh. So what about the Buckeyes coming in from the high school ranks?
Let's
Buckeyes, if you will.
Start with Brock Boyd, 9 catches, 171 yards. He has 54 catches on the season, 865 yards, and 10 touchdowns. So he's off to a heck of a start.
That's awesome. Hold on. I got to pull this up from the locker room. The Toronto Tribe.
Yeah.
That's what he called them.
Basically. It's the closest thing to a World Series I'll probably ever see for Cleveland. It's through another team.
Go Jays. Vlad is a beast. All right. What else? What else you got? He's been doing good all year, man. We talked about
Brock Boyd. He's been incredible.
We talk about Brock Boyd every week.
And he's only a 3-star.
Hopefully we don't lose him to Penn State when we lose Brian Hartline to them.
I don't buy it, but anything can happen. Caden Dixon-Wyatt, 7 catches, 92 yards. He has 500 yards on the season, 34 catches and 4 touchdowns. Chris Henry Jr., I'm not sure what's been going on. I don't know if he's hurt.
Yeah, I can't find his stats half the time either.
I saw something posted on some new ESPN rankings or something. Had him as the #1 wide receiver and number 7 overall recruit now.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they stopped reporting them to Max.
Yeah,
Max
right?
Modern Day did.
Yeah. Well, so I actually got Caden Dixon-Wyatt's stats, but I couldn't get anything for Chris Henry Jr.
Yeah.
So we're just going to assume he's elite because we know.
He's pretty darn good. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know.
Pay Brian Hartline
whatever. I'm just going to go ahead and say he did good.
Yeah. Brady Edmonds, 15 of 28, 281 yards and 3 touchdowns. He has 2,000 yards on the season with 29 touchdowns and 2 picks. He's my favorite quarterback in the 27 class. Really good player.
We'll be able to. That's a good point. Buckeye Nation, Mater Dei versus St. Bosco this week. That will be a game. That should be televised.
Yeah, is that televised?
That's a big rivalry. That's a big rivalry game.
Yeah,
it might be on TV.
I'm sure that's on ESPN. It's got to be.
The only game that I've seen this season was Mater Dei, but it might have been.
Yeah,
I think it was St. John Bosco. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Honestly,
Luke Fate.
I'll be honest with you, Temple Brutus.
Brian Kelly.
Brian Kelly. That would be a good spot for Brian Kelly to land up. You know, he has to take a little bit of.
I saw somebody up in the comments say Franklin to Florida. That would be absolutely career suicide for him to go to Florida. Franklin needs to take the Virginia Tech job.
It sounds like he is.
That would be the perfect spot. He would resurrect that program.
Let's not get into that. We got to bring Kyle on to talk about that a little bit before.
Yeah, that was reported earlier, but I don't know if it was real.
He's got to take that job.
Some of the reports were $10 million. Anyway, let's get back into this. Any more future Buckeyes you want to talk about?
Yeah, Angelo Smith, brother of Jeremiah Smith.
There we go. That's
7 tackles and a pass deflection. Jordan Thomas, 11 tackles, five of them for loss. And then rounding out Buckeyes in high school, Luke Fahey, 23 of 33, 374 yards and 2 touchdowns. So
nice.
He's also just such an incredible talent. Two great quarterbacks coming up. Really excited about.
That is awesome. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with both those quarterbacks in the fold. You know,
just give me more natties.
Someone's got to win that starting job, right? More natties. That's all we want.
I want to be swimming in natty trophies.
What about Wilder? How's he doing?
Again, it's max.
Have you heard anything about Wilder?
I can't get every stat, and I can't get anything for his school.
I'll have to try to deep dive to find.
Can't get anything on him.
Nope.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to look more into that and see.
They got to be somewhere. They got to be somewhere.
There's got to be stats somewhere. Yeah.
Maybe on their
may not be full
website.
stats, but they got to be something somewhere.
Maybe on their school website.
You think?
Maybe.
All right.
Sometime.
Well, Cody, go check out Cody's articles. Buckeyes in the big league. Check out Future Buckeyes. It happens pretty much every Wednesday, right? You put those out Wednesday, maybe Thursday. Yeah. All right. Thanks for joining us again, man. Glad you were here and appreciate your analysis, man.
Thank you for having me. See you guys.
Hey, see you, Cody.
All right, let's bring back in the Golik. Let's talk about James Franklin, where he lands.
Hold on. Go ahead.
So I feel the only way I can be part of this conversation, and this is in tribute to Alex, he has a brand new national champs hat.
Beautiful.
1986, baby.
I love it.
There we go.
That thing is awfully dungy and yellow and
Joe. Rest in peace to the great Joe Paterno. Rest in peace.
So I had to get the national championship hat.
Local newspaper.
I love that.
Why didn't we think about that?
Awesome.
The local newspaper. If we look up the local newspaper, they'll probably have the stats of those guys.
Always check game stories, and because a lot of times they will have that, and also start because I got to do a lot of the reconnaissance too.
Mm-hmm.
Check out fan site. Believe it or not, there's a lot of high school fan sites. You got to figure out what league they're in and kind of look that up, because there's people that'll just literally put up full blown drive logs. You got to. It's not as centralized, but if you want it, you got to find it.
I'm so happy that you have it.
They made it hats in '86.
I'm so happy
Yes,
you have it.
They did. Yes, they did. Boom.
That's awesome.
How old are you, Kyle? 40? When were you born?
85.
I thought you were around my age, man. I didn't
You were
realize.
one.
I'm 33, so that was before my time. But
I'm starting to get grays. I'm starting to be a fine stat guy. I'm starting to get grays.
Was that your dad's hat?
No, believe it or not, I got this hat when I was young. I was like 7.
Love that.
All right.
So this has been with me for 30 years.
I still have my 2002 Natty hat.
Oh, I have mine.
I get it. I get it.
The only other championship hat at Penn State that I have is my 2005 Big Ten champions hat.
Nice.
I still think about that game.
Yeah.
Some of these old games from 20 years ago still live rent-free in my head. Like that Florida one, I have nightmares about that often.
Yep.
Don't remind me. Let's talk about James Franklin. Where's he going to end up?
Oh, man.
Yeah, where's he going to end up?
So I was talking to I got a friend who does stuff in Nashville for Vanderbilt and is really tuned into the SEC and has some booster connections. And he was telling me a few Florida boosters are really high on Franklin. The question becomes, does Franklin want that pressure cooker? He has a home in Florida. Fumi and the kids love it down there. Is that where he wants to go? Virginia Tech is more advanced. It's probably the safest place for him to go because when you think about it, he knows the DMV, he knows Pennsylvania, he has those relationships there. So why not? But it also sets him up for unrealistic expectations. It's not like he's coming into Virginia Tech as from Vanderbilt who won 9 games. The expectations, we're going to win 10 games a year and be in New Year's 6 bowl games. We're going to dominate the Commonwealth again. So he has a very treacherous slope. There's a part of me, and I'm going to say this is the outside shot, Stanford and Andrew Luck.
Ooh.
Because he's a California guy. James is notorious. James is notorious for not liking the portal and all those sorts of things. He wants the college experience. He's all about educational standards. Stanford is as well. That's a match made in heaven. And think about it. The only reason David Shaw resigned was he simply wasn't getting the resources. And think about it. They just got a $50 million gift in that football program.
Yes.
Andrew Luck is starting to modernize it. They're embracing a lot of things. They're in the ACC. I like Stanford a lot.
That I didn't even think about them. I agree with you. Florida, he should stay far away from that. He had less pressure at Penn State than he would at Florida. This is the same fan base that wanted Urban Meyer fired after 1 year because he lost 3 games. And imagine if they got their wish. They'd be down 2 natties.
The problem with Florida is they're so booster ran, it's not even funny. I think the LSU, the whole governor thing with LSU, I know everyone's trying to defend it, but the thing is, if you're a coach and your AD and your president's getting superseded by political pressure, is that a job that you want?
No.
I don't know.
It's the best job available, but Urban said it best. Like it becomes a very different conversation if political people
it's
are
the same
getting
reason. It's the same reason Florida is not as good either. You're dealing with boosters and unrealistic expectations. Granted, Penn State fired Franklin, who at the time of his firing was the 4th winningest coach of a coach who had been at the same school the past 4 seasons, which is pretty impressive. Okay. There's that there, but at the same vein, when you really start to think about how that pressure happened, gun to
your head, where does he go?
Who?
Franklin.
Stanford.
Did you agree with getting rid of him?
No.
I knew it. I knew it because Kyle is smart. Kyle has a functioning brain, unlike some of these other Penn State fans like Chris Scully. He understands that he sees the bigger picture.
Yeah.
This was an anomaly year for Franklin. Next year they probably get 10 wins again.
Right.
I remember, like, as an early youth, I remember the 92 Nittany Lions, who were supposed to win it all. They had Miami at home. It was a top, I think, 5 matchup in Happy Valley. It was either 2-5 or 2-6.
Mm-hmm.
Penn State missed 5 field goals that day, lost that game in a heartbreaking fashion. That team tanked. They went from 5-0 to start the season and lost 5 of the next 7, including losing the Blockbuster Bowl to Stanford and Bill Walsh in the Legend versus the Genius game. So I've seen these seasons. This team was so much under pressure between the amount of money coming in, bringing in Jim Knowles.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they were so tight against Florida International. What do you think was going to happen whenever they played Oregon? And then the only thing I have for UCLA is that injury caught up with them, and the players still weren't getting the scheme. Here's the thing. They've lost 4 games by 13 points. I'll give them their due that they're still in it. But at some point, and you guys all know this playing sports, you lose enough, at some point it breaks you. And I think this is why this game is the broken game.
Hey, give yourself a little shout out. Temple of Brutus wants to know, where is your channel or radio?
So we are at Nittany. I am at Nittany Sports now. Go on YouTube. You will see Joe and a fat man. I am the fat man.
I think. Damn, Kyle, really?
Yeah.
Man.
I it is what it is.
You could have played the Golik and Golik type of deal.
Right?
Yeah, it's fun. Steve see me, he knows I'm fat, so it's not even.
We love you.
So yeah, for sure. Find me there. I hope to be on more often with Steve. Steve did us a major solid at Big Ten Media Days, getting us some pretty primo videos. So I still got to give him more content. I mean, so you'll find me here at College Football Backers as well. Maybe I'll be the Nittany backer. Who knows?
Eventually you're going to be the Nittany backer.
There would be no better pick.
Yeah.
Kyle's one of the better people I've ever talked sports with. I love this guy. He's always objective. He always has amazing things to say. A lot of analysis. Like, he's got to be. My votes.
Like Shane on that SEC channel, that SEC show.
Yeah, but here, real quick here, and I was beside Joe Hermit, who is the best photographer Penn State has on the beat, and we were on the field as that final game was ending for Franklin. Here, I'm pulling it up right now. Here, there's the Rose Bowl. I'm almost there. Where is it?
I can't get over that Stanford call out.
Yeah,
that would be a good.
Didn't even think about that.
I was beside James in front of James Franklin when I took that photo, and I was right beside Joe Hermit when he was taking that photo. Notice how the storm clouds are brewing on top of them.
Oh yeah,
that's
perfect shot.
Yeah,
that reminds me a lot of Day last year after that Team of North game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Our one photographer caught the AD after the game in here. Let me zoom in.
Man.
Isn't that a face that could kill?
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'd be pissed off too if you lose to Northwestern. Imagine what would happen if Ohio State lost to Northwestern at home.
Well, at home.
You shared that photo.
I remember.
Yeah.
I remember us losing to him in 2004, and I was actually surprised that Franklin didn't get into it with fans after that. I think that was the thing that really killed Franklin during his tenure. Mm-hmm. He let the fans get to him too much, and he even before the season during that spring game, there was a video. Yep, and it was like if he would have just found a way to block out that noise and keep it about this team.
Like, you're making my skin curl.
I think it would have been a lot better of a result.
I will say this. Probably one of the hardest things I've ever seen on the beat was that him walking right behind Franklin off the field watching obscenities and things being tossed at them.
Mm-hmm.
You get to, so when you go through the tunnel at Beaver Stadium, when you're on the field and you're going to the media room, you typically go straight and then you hook an immediate right and you go in there. So there was a bunch of security personnel and state police, and they were motioning us to the right to go in the front side of the media entrance for Penn State. And I'm literally, as we're being diverted, I'm looking over to the left, and I literally see Franklin's family, like, there supporting him, and like his daughter was crying, his wife wasn't really in the best spirits. I mean, I couldn't. You're telling us to move, and it's like, this is what I'm catching out of the glimpse of my eye. It's one of the hardest things. It humanized the thing because you see how much energy that these coaches put into it to get everything done for you, and to think that that was the last time he walked off Beaver Stadium surface, think of all the things that he did. He took the Penn State job when no one really wanted it. He modernized the program. He elevated the program. It went from being a top 15 job to, in my opinion, a borderline top 5 job. Took, Penn State on the precipice of the national championship last year, won a bunch of games, second most in program history. To that be the last thing, that's going to bother me the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
The other thing that bothered me about it is, if you watch those videos that were circulating, as he's walking off, he pushes and tells his daughter to go out in front of him.
Yeah.
Because he knows what the possibilities of things that could happen. I'm going to stay here, take the heat, you go ahead. And the ultimate,
and I think that's what got us emotional, because typically his daughter would walk off with them. If you ever watch any of Franklin videos, his daughter would always walk around the stadium with him.
But he wanted her to go first.
He knew.
He didn't want something bad to happen or something thrown at her.
Or just for her to hear.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds you last year when, after the Michigan game, when you heard all the stories of Ryan Day getting death threats.
Fans got to chill with that.
Yeah,
stuff.
you got to calm down.
I shouted at Urban, and I said, "Please come back."
Yeah, but Kyle, to your point, when you said, was firing Franklin a mistake, you start thinking about all the coaches that are getting fired right now. I mean, like, this is, when you're watching, again, you talk about history. I mean, I don't think we've seen this many coaches fired ever. Who are you going to hire now? Who are you going to get that's better than James Franklin at this point?
And this is where this is Pat Kraft's job now on the line, because now you're saying the standard's higher. Who are you going to get? And again,
who's going to push that standard?
It goes back to like the Brian Hartline rumors. If Brian Hartline wants to take this challenge on and think that you could take Penn State from being right there to above, we welcome it. But understand, if you fail, that's what the standard is.
Look, again,
this happened with Nebraska, Miami, Tennessee, USC. These programs think we're better than what we are. We're too big for our britches, and we got to. Franklin had his faults for sure, but at the end of the day, you like I said, when he was fired in the last 3+ seasons, only 3 other coaches had more wins than him that were at the same school: Kirby Smart, Dan Lanning, and Ryan Day. GFL guys, and finding someone at that level that you're going to feel good about.
Yeah. Right. And again, I love Brian Hartline, and I think everyone's correct. Brian Hartline is going to make an amazing head coach one day.
Someday.
And he unfortunately, he is going to have to leave unless something crazy happens with Ryan Day. He's going to have to leave Ohio State someday and go somewhere else and become a head coach. But look,
not today.
Yeah, not today. Look, I love the guy, and I've said it before in some of our group chats. I would love to see him get a little more official OC and play calling duties under his belt before he goes and takes another job. Especially because he's going to go somewhere like a Penn State, like an Oregon or like an LSU or like a Florida, because that's where his pedigree is, and that's what he deserves. And they're going to have such a short leash on him. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you don't want to.
Right.
You don't want to
Again,
ruin that opportunity when you get it.
Right. And again, and I think I mentioned it before, who is the Ole Miss coach right now? It's getting late. I'm having a brain fart.
Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, you look at Lane Kiffin and his journey. He left a little too early. You look at his coaching pedigree and where he went. He was so chomping at the bit to be a head coach, and he left and he went to a couple different places in the NFL.
Tennessee, USC.
Didn't work out. Then he jumped back down and was a head coach at USC, and that didn't work out. So what did he do? He had to go back to, Saban took him in as an OC. He got rehabilitated. And I just feel like if Brian Hartline leaves right now and goes to a big time program and it's not successful, that might be him on a tarmac somewhere waving. I'm just, and again, Kyle,
end up getting rehabilitated at Ohio State again. So that'd be
right. Again, so yeah, did Penn State jump the gun? Did they jump the gun and fire some guy too quick?
Well, according to Heather Dinich, they're going to get Ryan Day. He might not be happy at Ohio State.
What was her exact quote? Maybe Ryan Day won't be happy, and Penn State got the money and the confidence to do it. And I'm sitting there going, are you effing kidding me?
I'm like, Ryan Day is not going to be the head coach at Penn State.
Let's just do this. I don't think Heather realizes. I saw this on one of the Fox telecasts of one of the Ohio State games recently. 99% of the games he's coaching, Ohio State's been in the top 10. He's not going.
And it should have been 100. They screwed us the 1 week. Yeah. We were 11th. They screwed us.
Anyway, hey, so Stanford for you.
Yeah.
We all gave our prediction, and it looks like it's going to be a blowout. Who do you got winning the national title then, Golik?
Ooh. I'm just going through my head right now how I see the rest of the season playing out. I think Ohio State's going to fall short at an opportune time. I don't know if they've been challenged as much, and that's going to come back to bite them. I don't think Oregon. I don't think it's going to be a Big Ten team, to be honest with you.
Oh.
I'm thinking it's going to be someone from the SEC, so either Alabama or Ole Miss. I think
Ole Miss winning a national title. That just
this year's crazy.
No way. I can see Texas A&M.
You might as well have said Miami and spared me. Okay.
Jeez. Man, speaking of. So who do you got? Who do you got for the national championship?
An SEC team, either Alabama or Ole Miss.
Alabama or Ole Miss.
All right. Speaking of the SEC, you were talking about. I think we were talking about Steve earlier about upsets, and I've been looking at it.
I'm
looking at Florida, man, against Georgia this weekend.
Ooh.
I posted it. I started looking at it, and I'm starting to build a model, and I'll put a score out tomorrow, I think, because I'm putting the model together. But Georgia, I posted this earlier. Georgia's defense, man,
is fraudulent.
They're fraudulent.
131 in tackles for loss, 122 in sacks per game, 122 in forced fumbles. They're 95th in opponent third down conversions, 90th in interceptions per game, 85th in opponent red zone TDs, 84th in turnover margin, 63rd in passing defense, 78th in opponent passing plays, 50-plus yards allowed. I mean, it just goes on and on. And then you look at Florida beat Texas, right, 29-21, and the Texas defense right now is number 3 in rushing defense, number 4 in forced fumbles, number 4 in sacks per game, number 10 in scoring defense, and so on. They have a pretty good defense, as it turns out. I mean, their offense, is shite.
See, Kyle, we got challenged. We got challenged week 1, Kyle.
Man.
Yeah. Week 1, Kyle.
I don't know. So all I'm saying is I'm looking at Florida, and I don't know, man.
That's a good place to end the show. We are going to have a model that tells us if that is the upset of the week for Brian Buckeye Stats. All right.
I will say this.
Stay tuned to his Twitter account. Check it out. Go follow Kyle Golik. Alex, as always, thanks for joining us, man. Buckeye backers are out. God bless and go Bucks. It
What were you
is
gonna say, Coach?
time to end the show.
Yeah.
I was